1966 was the year Vice President Oginga Odinga resigned from the sole ruling party, the Kenya African National Union KANU, and took up the leadership of the Kenya People's Union KPU. It all started when KANU Secretary General Tom Mboya, without consulting anyone in the party's national executive except Kenyatta, announced that KANU would hold a full delegates conference at Limuru to elect new party officials, the first such elections since the party's inception in 1961. In the ensuing elections, which Odinga boycotted, Mboya retained his seat as Secretary General, beating his only rival, Masinde Muliro, by 326 to 80 votes. Daniel Arap Moi was elected Party Vice President for Rift Valley, Ronald Ngala for Coast, Jeremiah Nyaga for Eastern, Eric Kasakala for Western, Mohamud Jubat for Northeastern, Mwai Kibaki for Nairobi, and James Gishuru for Central. On April 14th, Odinga resigned from the government and KANU. Kenyatta later appointed Joseph Murumbi, until then Minister for Foreign Affairs, as the country's new vice president. There followed a steady stream of defections from KANU to a new party, the Kenya People's Union KPU, which the radicals had set up a few days after the Limuru conference. Altogether, 28 MPs and senators defected to the KPU, among them Bildad Kagia and Achieng' Oneko, two of Kenyatta's fellow detainees following the infamous 1952 anti-Mau Mau trial at Kapenguria. Outside Parliament, many of the radical trade unionists joined the new party. They included Dennis Akumu, the Central Organization of Trade Unions' number 2 man, and Ochola Makanyengo, the powerful head of the Kenya Oil and Petroleum Workers Union. On April 26th, Odinga assumed the presidency of the KPU, with Kagia as the party's vice president. More resignations would have followed, but on April 28th, Parliament was recalled from Easter recess and quickly passed an amendment to the Constitution requiring that anyone who resigned from the party on whose ticket he or she was elected to Parliament lost their seat. The amendment was to be applied retroactively, which meant that Odinga and others who had quit KANU would have to go for by-elections if they wanted to return to Parliament. In what came to be known as the Little General Election, there would be contests in only 26 constituencies. In each, it would be a straight fight between KANU and the KPU. Altogether, only 9 KPU candidates, including Odinga, came through. 7 MPs and 2 senators, mostly from Odinga's Luo area in Nyanza province. Both Oneko and Kagia were defeated. Without Kagia and others from outside Nyanza, the tiny KPU opposition now seemed to represent not an ideological position, but a tribal one. Things would get worse for the KPU after Parliament passed an amendment to the Constitution, allowing the detention without trial of persons the government deemed a threat to state security. On August 4th, 6 KPU leaders, including Akumu and Makanyengo, were detained. On August 22nd, there was one more detention. Caroline Okello Odongo, American-born wife of Tom Okello Odongo, the KPU MP for Kisumu Rural, became the first woman in independent Kenya to be put under detention. She was Odinga's personal secretary. Outside politics, the big news was the inauguration of the Central Bank of Kenya. Within months of its launch, Kenyatta designated head of the public service, Duncan Degwa, to take over as governor the following year, after the one-year term of World Bank seconded official Leon Barinsky expired. In sports, 1966 was the year Kipchoge Keino won gold at the Commonwealth Games in Kingston, Jamaica, becoming the first man from Africa to run the mile in less than 4 minutes. KANU would in August that year go on to break the world 3,000 meters record in Helsingborg, Sweden. 1966 was also the year Kenyans said farewell to Carrie Francis, former longtime principal of Alliance High School.